Today we are going to make a very unprofessional video about how to explain and operate the DSC touchscreen keypad. This is the touchscreen keypad that we'll be explaining. We'll go over here to the whiteboard and explain how the system is set up, and then we'll come over here and show you how to do it on the actual keypad. Okay, the alarm system is set up into either 3 partitions or 2 partitions. The 3 different partitions that are on at the banks are typically the bank partition, the teller partition, and the janitor partition. Some of the banks have 4 partitions, some of the banks only have 2 partitions, some only have 1 partition. So basically here is a globe. It's the whole earth, the whole globe, and it is divided into 3 different partitions. The bank partition at most banks have the vault door zone, the ATM zone, the money clips, the desk buttons, all the hold-up zones. Some of the banks have fire zones on the bank partition, and just different other things. But different zones are associated with different partitions. That's the bank partition. The teller partition in many of the banks have the night drop zone and the pass-through zone. If you have a pass-through, courier pass-through. That is the teller partition. The janitor partition has all of the doors coming into the bank. Some of them, not all of the doors, but the main doors to enter the building and the motion detectors. And the reason they're set up into partitions is so you can arm and disarm different things. Your code is what associates you with which partitions you have control of. The janitor only has control of the janitor partition. The janitor can only arm and disarm the doors and the motion detectors. All the bank employees can arm and disarm either just the teller and the janitor or just the bank and the janitor. Anyone that has an alarm code has to disarm the janitor because that is what disarms the doors and the motion detectors. So, you can globally arm things. The way you would globally arm things, we'll show you on the keypad in a minute. You would punch in your 4-digit code. Your 4-digit code is what gives you access to either arm or disarm these things. You can globally arm, or you can globally disarm. The way that the alarm system signifies whether something is armed is like a padlock. A padlock that is locked symbols that it is armed. A padlock that is unlocked is symbolic of being disarmed. So, you can always see the globe. This one is locked, that means you arm it. This globe disarms it. So if you were to punch in your 4-digit code and globally arm it, and your alarm code had access to all partitions, it would arm everything. It would globally arm it. If your code, for example, was the janitor code or teller code, and you punched in your 4-digit code, you have no access to the bank. You'd punch in your code and you globally arm, it would only globally arm your rights with your code, and they would arm the teller and the janitor if you're the teller. If you're a janitor and you globally armed, it would arm just the janitor. Same with the disarm associated with your code. So now let's come over back to the keypad and show you how to do that. To wake up the keypad, you simply touch the screen. Once you touch the screen, you read the screen. Global keypad, present tag or touch to unlock. So I want to unlock it. I will touch it again. Now it says present tag or enter code. I will punch in a 4-digit code only. If I, for example, think that I've put my code in incorrectly and I want to clear it, this little C clears your code and you can start over again. So I will punch in my 4-digit code correctly this time. Now I have a green unlocked button on my partition 1 and my partition 2. I could globally arm those and it will arm both of those partitions. This little man running away from the opened door symbols that it is arming. It is not yet armed, but it is arming. If I wanted to just disarm partition 1, I would just touch partition 1. Now it is an unlocked padlock. It is disarmed. Partition 2 is still arming. I could touch partition 2 and just disarm that, or I could globally disarm and it would disarm the rest of the partitions. No alarm is in memory. If for example, there is a gray. That means that it is not ready to be armed, but all motion detectors are set up as a force armed zone. That means people could be moving around. If you present your code, your code, and it is gray, that could be because someone is moving. If you globally arm, it will force arm and still arm that force arm motion detector, and it is arming the system. And you have a time delay to get out before it is fully armed. To disarm, again, you can disarm each individually by touching them, or you just touch global disarm. Now, in the example of a janitor, if a janitor were to come, or a teller that didn't have access to all codes were to put in their code, only partition 2 is available to them. That would be the janitor partition. If they globally arm, it will arm that partition. And that is arming because the man is running out of the door, signifying that he is leaving the building. To disarm, you could either touch just that or you globally disarm, and it will disarm partition 2, no alarms in memory. That is the basic setup of this system. If you have any questions, you call Security Services, 801-489-9600. That gets Steven Savage, or me, PJ Waite.